Arabian Oud, Arabian blends. Today, a Lawz. Let's talk about it.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neve. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today we're going to be talking about another Arabian Oud blend, specifically the Arabian Blend series. The caliber of some of these fragrances, including the ingredients, longevity for a lot of them is actually pretty damn good. A lot of the higher end or higher quality fragrances include these Arabian Oud blends. So maybe something like this would match up or get very damn close to Amouage quality fragrances. Today we're going to be talking about Jabal Al Lawz. Standard presentation with all the Arabian blends, it's the same thing. This is a lot heavier in person and a lot bigger in person than you would think. For me personally, whenever I saw the pictures, I really didn't expect much. I thought it was going to be this rinky-dink 50 ml, and I believe this might be at least 80 mls to 100 mls. Pretty big bottle, magnetic cap as well. It's on there pretty sturdy. I would not recommend doing this because it will come off eventually. Atomizer, pretty good. Actually, a very good atomizer. And right off the top, you could smell this before you even spray it. And what you smell and what this is and what it's surrounded around is tobacco. A super rich, just wet, fresh, raw tobacco leaf. At the top of this fragrance, there is a bit more than just that rich tobacco leaf, but the center, the star focus of this fragrance is gonna be exactly that. Just think of literally you just freshly picked out of the soil the biggest tobacco leaf you could find. That's just so rich, so wet, almost leather in texture. It doesn't really smell anything of leather, but that's the quality and the wetness and the just basically the freshness of that tobacco leaf. There's some wormwood at the top and some star anise, which adds a little bit of spice at the top as well. Kind of just illustrates more of like this earthy nuance, if you will. The herbaceous qualities isn't too outstanding, and it really doesn't overtake the whole focus of the show, which is going to be that tobacco. There are some notes that are listed of wormwood, star anise. In the heart, there's jasmine, violet, Spanish citrus, and in the base, there's tobacco, vanilla, saffron, praline, amber, and vetiver. So like I said, this is a distinctively tobacco fragrance. There's a quite hefty dose of amber as well, so it's a warm, very rich and wet tobacco leaf with some of that warmth coming from the ambers, and the sweetness in this fragrance is really nothing that you're gonna detect and be like, oh, this is a sweet fragrance. By no means is this like a distinctively or definitively just sweet fragrance. Rather, the sweetness probably offsets any bitterness that could have been potentially extremely high, considering the uses of some wormwood and tobacco along with some of that vetiver as well. Vanilla and praline in here is used adequately enough to counteract any of those acidic notes, specifically the vetiver. So I would imagine without any of those sweet nuances, it would definitely go a lot more balsamic and just sour in a way. The sweetness does help keep it at bay, but this is, like I said, not descriptively sweet, not sour, what you're really gonna get with this fragrance. And the bottom line is that this is a tobacco amber-based fragrance. Yes, you get some herbaceous nuances, some earthy vibes, and there is a slight leather undertone. It's the saffron in the base that really helps draw this whole leather undertone. And like I said, it just kind of helps illustrate the whole image of a freshly picked, wet, leather-skinned like tobacco. This is a tobacco fragrance that's for grown men. This is a rich man's tobacco fragrance. It's not for something that you're gonna go out and smell like, I want compliments. You're gonna get attention, and if you have like a more masculine and serious vibe, or if you've got money, you're gonna absolutely smell like it. And people that like to stand out, you're going to do that with this. So don't discount the fact that you can potentially get compliments while wearing something like this, because of the fact that there are people and women that enjoy a man who smells different, who smells like they've got money. 10 out of 10 tobacco fragrance. Not going to be sweet. This makes fragrances like Herod and Carlisle and Red Tobacco seem like child's play in terms of quality and in terms of how much more of a naturalistic, realistic tobacco this one illustrates. Fantastic execution fragrance. And there is another fragrance that I would put in the same family of fragrances or execution for tobacco, okay? This gets in a similar family of fragrances like Amouage Royal Tobacco. Yeah, so if you like this, honestly, this is a little bit more of a wearable version. Whereas this one has fenugreek, it has a lot more aromatics, kind of has some, kitchen herbs and spices, which I absolutely love this one. You smell like $1,000,000 with a lot of these fragrances. Grown man vibes only, rich men only, seriously, that's the type of vibe with this one. You absolutely have to be more experienced. A trained nose is gonna appreciate this one. How naturalistic, I love this stuff. This is like a more wearable version of this. It takes this wet, thick, rich tobacco and dresses it up with some saffron, a little bit of spices, and it skips a lot of those herbs and spices that Royal Tobacco uses. I love Royal Tobacco. For me, it's a 10 out of 10, but it is a little bit hard to wear. It's not gonna be for everybody. This smells like a lot is going on. Incense vibes, bahour. It smells like cigar shop in Dubai. This has that cigar shop vibe, except it's less around those aromatics, less around those spices, and a little bit more wearable. So if you want to jump into something like this, or you like it, it just wasn't, 100% you should definitely try this one out. If you enjoyed certain aspects of this, but it just didn't do it for you, give this one a shot if you're into that natural cigar shop tobacco vibe fragrance. Longevity of this is eternal. Next day on clothing. The quality is outstanding. The concentration of this is super rich. You have to be careful. Don't spray this on white clothing because it will stain it yellow. A lot of naturals in this fragrance. You can absolutely sense it. Likewise with the Amouage fragrance. You can just tell right away. And that's the thing with a lot of these Arabian blend fragrances, is that they use naturals. So there you go. Another tobacco-based fragrance that treads in the same category or family of fragrances like Royal Tobacco by Amouage. To my knowledge, or in my collection at least, there aren't many fragrances that can execute a rich, naturalistic smelling tobacco leaf quite like this one, nor as Royal Tobacco. But now this is another one that's added to the list, a rich man's tobacco fragrance that's more experienced and trained for sure. And just as a quick rundown to kind of give you guys a little bit more value to the whole video, I want to talk to you guys about the ones that I've already worn. Number one Arabian blend for me is Jabal Al Lawz. It smells like fabric softener from Dubai, slight bits of cardamom spice, super sexy and alluring, and it has this nice powdery floral iris that kind of butters things up. Love this stuff. Reminds me of Dior Homme Original, but much more higher quality. So that's Jabal Al Lawz, and it lasts, all of these last a day easily. So I'm just gonna put that out there. They all last a day. So that's my number one currently. And right now, number two is gonna be Jabal Al Lawz. Not going to be for everybody. Tobacco, slightly incensey. I mean, natural cigar shop. This is what that smells like. But because of its complexity and the nature that it's done, yeah, number two. Number three is going to be Jabal Al Fil. Jabal Al Fil smells like this creamy, almondy, almost jasmine-based fragrance. It honestly draws the accord of almond-based fragrances for me, more so than it would go towards the jasmine side of things. Although the notes might not include almond, I get an almond-based fragrance that's really loud. It screams. It smells slightly soapy, but much more complex and richer than just a soapy fragrance. Soap, cream, a really good fragrance nevertheless. And this one's actually pretty unisex. It does lean slightly towards the masculine side of things because there are some spices to this. Check out my full review for this one or any of the other ones if you're interested in more details. Last one for me, and I'm not the craziest about this one, but the quality for all of these is 10 out of 10. It's called Jabal Tamia. Jabal Tamia has like this white floral as well, honeyed white florals essentially. I'm not the craziest, but gentlemen, if you're into white florals, this is a more masculine-esque take on that whole thing. It is pretty unisex. There are certain traits and qualities like some of the spices similar to that of these other fragrances that does take this into more of a masculine territory. I would say for the most part these four Arabian Oud blends are pretty masculine, especially in comparison to a lot of the mainstream feminine fragrances. But ladies, if you're into more niche, higher end smells, I think the easiest one or the best one would be Jabal Al Fil. Jabal Tamia's focus is going to be around these balsamic notes, some pepper, vanilla, cashmere wood, sandalwood, and it smells like what there could be frankincense. So slightly balsamic, creamy sandalwood, and jasmine. That's what Jabal Tamia is all about. Jabal Al Fil has a bit more going on. It's lavender, apple, wormwood, and some basil. Pretty aromatic at the top with the addition also of rosemary. And then in the mid, you've got this lily of the valley, which does give me that whole creamy, soapy vibe. You've got cinnamon, iris, musk tonka, a lot going on in this one, okay? So for me, it just smells like creamy, soapy, woody. It's a fantastic fragrance and much more complex than something like the whole Jabal Tamia. And lastly was the Jabal Cotton, and as I described it, fabric softener to the freaking max, one of the best ones. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if this helped you in any way, please make sure to hit that subscribe. Also leave a like, I'd appreciate it. And let me know down in the comments which one of these are most interesting sounding to you. I've got two more part of the collection that we're going to be testing. I think one of them is called Jabal Al Nur, and in all of those future videos, I will be doing a little recap on some of the rest. I find that it'll be easier than going back. If you want any more details, do go back and check out one of those videos that I did a full length review.